Vermont Community Garden Network is a statewide organization that is focused on promoting, advocating, and helping organize community gardens throughout the state. And a community garden, in a sense, is really any time people come together to grow something on a shared plot of land. So this garden is part of a project to nourish those struggling in our community right now. The concept is this is a plot of land worked by volunteers, planted and cared for over the season to produce thousands of pounds of vegetables that will go to prepared meals that are distributed to those experiencing food insecurity in our community. So it's an effort to connect community and produce something that will really strengthen our community, both in terms of this kind of collective effort and the nutritious meals being produced.
That's the start of the blueberries. That's the pollinators, bumblebees, and hummingbirds, butterflies.
Today we're here with a bunch of volunteers to start the garden going for the summer, getting rid of weeds, getting the asparagus and strawberries ready to maybe be harvested pretty soon. We're putting mulch on things. We have a huge pile of compost that we're spreading out. We plant a wide variety of things. Last summer we did tomatoes, a bunch of kale. We had dinosaur kale, which was really cool, lacinato. There's so many flowers. We plant pollinator flowers to bring in all the butterflies and bees. We have a huge herb wheel where we have mint, oregano, lemongrass. Garlic's already coming up. So yeah, we do a bunch of stuff. Almost every row is something different.
I'm Michelle Gates. I'm the Executive Director for the Vermont Community Garden Network. The organization is actually just entering its 20th year this year. It's been through several different changes. It started as Friends of Burlington Community Gardens, and their focus at that time was to elicit city management for the 14 gardens in Burlington. So then they worked with Vermont Parks and Rec and got those community gardens managed professionally. And then they changed their name to Friends of Burlington Gardens. And they wanted to support school and community gardens, again, still in the city of Burlington. So for several years they did that through training, advocacy, help with fundraising, a lot of kind of hands in the dirt, technical support, and helping people plan and manage garden spaces. And then they started to get some attention from folks across the state that wanted similar support. There's not another organization that really helps people plan and implement and manage community gardens. So they started doing some statewide outreach, specifically training and planning for people that wanted to start community gardens, because there's quite a lot involved, more than just kind of digging up the ground and putting in your seed. In a community garden situation, there's a lot of people management, there's a lot of volunteer recruitment, there's funding that's required, sometimes working with your city or state in making sure that all the infrastructure that you need is in place and accessible to you. So folks need some guidance around that kind of thing. The other part of community gardens that sometimes people don't understand is that it includes more than just, shared plot gardens in neighborhoods. Half of the gardens that we support are school gardens. So we work with Vermont Farm to School, Vermont Farm to Plate, in trying to help schools initiate some of those farm to school programs and work with them on growing food in their gardens for the school cafes and things like that. There's also workplace gardens. There's gardens at hospitals. Most of the hospitals in the state actually have a community garden that's for sometimes community use, sometimes employee use, and sometimes to actually help feed people that are at the hospital. And then correctional facilities have gardens. There's just all kinds of places. So really a community garden is any space where people are coming together to garden. So in 2013, we were doing much more of that kind of thing across the state outside of Burlington, and that's when the name changed to Vermont Community Garden Network. And since then, we've continued to grow. We have about 500 gardens now in our directory that we support. And really, our mission is to make sure people have access to the resources they need to grow food and connect with each other.
So today we spent time doing a few different things in the teaching garden. We composted, we also edged the garden beds, and that consisted of clearing out the sod and digging up all the weeds and then laying down mulch. And then we also just did some general weeding of the garden beds and getting everything ready. So this garden is a teaching garden for the community, and we were helping to get it prepped so when they start that season, things are in really good place. And we, as a family, have volunteered here before, and we find it really important to just spend a few hours every year giving back to the community. And being a gardener myself, it's just a really easy way to
help out, few hours, friends, beautiful day, and just you see such results too in just a few hours. Like where we started today was all this grassy area, and now it's all dug up and beautifully mulched and ready to go for the season. Just feels really good to give back in just a few hours in a really concrete way.